We know very well that reproduction is very necessary for those organisms uh, which have to pass their generation, their offspring generation to generation. If you have any doubt in these chapters, you may call on this number 9275027350, or you may do WhatsApp your question. So first of all, we'll study what is reproduction. So we know very well that reproduction is a process in which organism give rise to young ones similar to itself. Here, it's a totally biological process, and we know very well that here living organism, whenever they produce new organisms, they possess the same type of characteristics like their parents. And here this procedure is very necessary for the continuity of the species generation after generation, and that's why reproduction is very important. Here we know very well that different organisms have different lifespan. The question will arise, what is lifespan? So lifespan, that is the time period between birth to the natural death, that is called lifespan. And we know very well that there is no any organisms in the world which is immortal, means वो अमर है ऐसा कोई नहीं, exception few unicellular organisms. So there is no natural death in unicellular organisms. We know very well that bacteria, amoeba, they can divide by binary fissions, and one organism is converted into the two organisms. So lifespan of different organisms here described. Let's see one by one. We know very well that elephant has approximate 50 to 70 year lifespan, while parrot have 140 years. You see, size doesn't matter. Here elephant is too huge and large, but still its lifespan is 50 to 70 year, while parrot is a small bird, but still it has 140 year of lifespan. While crocodile 60 year, and dog has approximate 22 years, while horse, which was 40 to 50 year, and butterfly will be completed their whole life in 1 to 2 weeks, while tortoise approximate 100 to 150 year, but different type of tortoise has different lifespan. Cow has approximately 22 years, and in 5 to 7 years rose plant will be died. While banana tree, actually it's a 25-year, but it produce asexually, that's why they produce new different type of plants from there. And rice plants, it's only completed their life in 3 to 4 months in a one season, while banyan tree, it's may long up to your 2 to 3 4 or your 3 to 4 generation, that means up to 200 year. So here we have discussed that different organisms have different lifespan means a time period from birth to the natural death, that is called lifespan. Now we will discuss about the types of reproduction. So based on the number of participants, reproductions is two types: asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. So today, first of all, we will discuss about the asexual reproduction. Asexual means there is no sex required. That's why it is called asexual reproduction. And only single parents is able to produce new organism. It does not invite the fusion of male and female gametes. Here any parts of the organisms or organism itself will be divided and produce new offspring, new child that is similar to their own. And in asexual reproduction there is a no genetic variation. Here it's morphologically and genetically similar to their parents, and that structure which is morphologically and genetically similar to their parents, it is called clone. Clone means same copy. So asexual reproductions mainly found in a unicellular organisms like bacteria, amoeba, paramecium, euglena, etc., and in few simple plants as well as in some animals. So, what are the advantages of asexual reproduction? So, asexual reproduction is advantageous to certain animals that remain in one particular place, like Hydra, Planaria, animal. This type of animals that are unable to look for their mates. Means they never migrate from one place to another place for their life partner, and they remain on a particular place. So without any life partner, itself divide and it produce new organism. It's also produce numerous offspring without costing of a parents a greater amount of energy or time. So we know very well that energy, which is very important factor for the reproduction, but here its organism itself produce new organism, so the or energy will be saved. What are the disadvantages of asexual reproduction? So we know very well that genetic variation is very important for the evolution, but genetic variation comes after the fusion of different male and female gametes. But in asexual reproduction there is no gamete fusion occur, so there is no variation. So all organisms are similar to each other, and that's why those parent or organisms which have few weakness, few problem, these problem remain constant from generation to generation. So there is no variation found in those organisms which are produced by asexual reproduction. And if the stable environment will be changed, these particular organisms could not survive in a new environment. So that's why asexual reproduction is harmful for different organisms. Now we will discuss about types of asexual reproduction. So different type of asexual reproduction. Among the first, that is fission. Fission means to divide. So a parent cell divide into two or more than two organisms, that is called fission. Example, the Protista and Monera. Protista means single cell organism with nucleus. Okay, unicellular nucleated organisms are called Protista, and unicellular without nucleus are called Monera. Example, that is bacteria. Here fissions are mainly two types: binary fissions and multiple fissions. In a binary fissions, organism will be divided into two organisms, and each separate parts will develop into the new organism. So that is called binary fission, that is found in amoeba, paramecium. Binary fission is also divided into further three parts: simple binary fissions, horizontal binary fissions, and transverse binary fission. While multiple fission, especially this multiple type of fissions mainly found in a adverse conditions, like in amoeba, the pseudopodia will be convert into a layer, up to 3 layers they will produce, and that makes cyst wall. And inside it, the nucleus first of all divide into so many different parts, and afterwards cytoplasm will be divide and cover surrounding the nucleus, and in this way so many new cells will be formed inside the cyst. Whenever favorable season will comes, that cyst wall will be break down, and all organisms which are formed inside their cyst, it will be separated, and it will produce new organism or behave like a new organism. So this multiple fission is also found in Plasmodium and amoeba. Now second type of asexual reproduction, that is budding. So budding involves the formation of new individuals from the basing of the parent body. Here you can see that this is Hydra. Initially that's parent Hydra. As in diagram A, if you will see, a small little bit outward buzz will produce, and slowly in diagram B, that buzz will be developing into the bud. In C, you can see that it looks similar to their parent's body, and ultimate it will be detached from their parent body and behave like a new organism. So here that bird will produce outside the body, and in this sponge birds will be produced inside the body. Whenever bird will be produced inside the body that is called gemmules. Here you can see that different that structures their inner membrane and outer membrane which covers these gemmules, and whenever favorable season will comes, that gemmules will be uh, converts into a new organism. So that's budding. Your cell divide uniquely unequally. Main thing is cell divides unequally and form buds, and it remain attached either outside the body or inside the body, and whenever it become mature and looks like a parents, it's separated from the parents and behave as a new organism. So in yeast also bud found. Here you can see that budding will be there. Now other type of asexual reproductions in which spore formation. So there are mainly two type of spores, zoospores and conodiaspore. Zoo means animal. So we know very well that the difference between the animal and plant, that is, animal can migrate from one place to the another place, while plant does not. Same that way, zoospore possess either flagella or cilia, and with help of this cilia or flagella, they can migrate from one place to the another place via any medium. So and these are the motile spore, and they can easily transfer from one place to the another place, and whenever the favorable season will comes, it will be produced into the new organisms. While in conodiospore, these are the non-motile because it does not possess cilia or flagella, and it is the exogenous spore found in a chain. So it will be found in a penicillium or mucor fungi, while zoospore will be found in Chlamydomonas algae. Here you can see that juice spot. So new protoplast acquire characteristics of mother cell and transfer into the motile spore. As we have talked that zoo means animals can migrate from one place to the another place, that is the movement or motility. So parent cell will break and zoospore are liberated in water. They enlarge and behave as an adult individuals. Here these are some example of zoospore, and they possess how many flagella or a number of flagella or cilia. There are different type of zoospore. One that is biflagellate zoospore. Bi means two. So those organisms which have only two flagella are called biflagellate zoospore, that is found in a Chlamydomonas. Quadra means four. So those zoospore which possess four flagella is called as a quadriflagellate zoospore. Here you can see that this is the Eulothrix and this one is the Chlamydomonas. So biflagellates and quadriflagellates zoospore. And if they have more than four flagella, are called multiflagellate zoospores. If they have only one flagella, then uninucleate zoospore, and uninucleate means only one nucleus. Those zoospore which possess only one nucleus is called uninucleate zoospore, that's found in a Eulothrix. And if we are talking about the green alga Vaucheria, it possesses multinucleated zoospore. So now we will discuss about the conodiospore. So means those spore which does not possess any cilia or flagella, so they cannot migrate from one place to the another place, and they mainly found on outside the body. So these conodiospores are non-motile spores produced specially on a hyphal branch that consists of tips. It's called conidiophore. Here you can see that this one is a conidiophore, and at the tip of conidiophore, that is called vesicule, and above it produces conidia. So conidia are a non-motile spore, and they are most commonly asexual spore produced by the fungi. And conidiophore either be branch or unbranched. Here you can see this in a Rhizophus, that is the unbranched conidiophore, while in Penicillium that is the branch conidiophore. So different conidiophore found unbranched or branch. In Penicillium it may show branchings, and over this branch there are formation of flask shaped structures called stigmata, or it's also known as a filiate. and each stigmata produce a chain of conoidea. Here you can see that this is stigmata or filiate, and above it produce conoidea. So conoidea they found in a chain either 2, 3, 4 or more than this. So in this way, this conidiophore founds over the stigmata, and conidiophore are capable to produce conidia singly, that is in Phytophthora, or in a chain in Aspergillus and Penicillium. So Phytophthora is also fungi, but over the stigmata only one conidia found, while in Aspergillus and Penicillium fungi there is a chain of conidia, and whenever due to the wind this conoidea will transfer from one place to the another place, and whenever favorable seasons will comes, it will produce new organisms. So in this way conidiophore will produce. So we have studied this different type of asexual reproductions. Now we will discuss about the vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation means any vegetative parts of the plant, either root, stem, leaves, or buds. It will produce new plants without the formation of male or female gametes. That is called vegetative propagation. Here, vegetative propagation is also a type of asexual reproduction, and whatsoever plants produced due to the vegetative propagations are similar to the parent plant, that is clones. And at a time we are able to produce a large number of plants due to the vegetative propagations, and in a short duration and with the same purity, and the good quality plants we can produce at a time by the vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagations are mainly two types: natural vegetative propagation as well as artificial vegetative propagation. So first of all we will study about the natural vegetative propagation. Natural vegetative propagations will be found especially in a dicot plants, and it will produce by either stem, root or leaves. So here vegetative propagations can be further divided into three parts: by stem, by leaves or by roots. And whenever we are talking about the vegetative propagation by this stem, there are different structures like underground stem, subaerial stem. Underground stem means a stem which is found inside the soil. Subaerial means little bit above the soil. Aerial means in a air or above the soil, and bulbous means a special type of birds which is behave like a vegetative structure, and then by leaves or roots. So first of all we'll study about the vegetative propagations by the stems. Here as we have studied that by stem there are different four type of parts: underground, subaerial, aerial and bulbous. So first of all underground stem. So underground stems mostly they are non-green in structures, and the main function that is the food storage, and it's a parenting structures, and they found below the surface of the soil. These underground stems mainly divide into three parts: tuber, rhizome and bulb. So what is tuber? So whenever the terminal portions of the stem below the soil and store foods and become swallow due to the accumulation of food, that is called tuber. Now, they possess buds on their nodes, and these buds will be sprout and produce new plant, right? So that's tuber. Example mean the example of tuber, that is potato. Here you can see that there's different germinating buds which also known as a eyes of the potato. So tuber, that is the terminal portion which store food and becomes swallow and looks like a tube-like structure. That's why it is known as a tuber. Second, that is the rhizome. Rhizome will be found in a ginger. So it's the mainly underground perennial stem. Buds present on the node take part for the formation of the new aerial shoots in a favorable season. The rhizomes are also called creeping rootstocks or rootstocks. Here, whole plants convert into the vegetative structures. It possesses node, internodes, scaly leaves, etc. And from their nodes, it will produce adventative roots. So whenever variable season will becomes, that's adventative roots will be produce a new plants, and plants make use of rhizome in order to store food like starch, protein, and other nutrients. So in banana and ginger, that's the due to the rhizomes, it will produce new plants. Third one, that is the bulb. The bulb is an underground, unbranched, reduced disc shaped stem. Here we can see that in onion, that white structure is called disc. From below the disc, it will produce roots, and above this, it produces leaves. Here, disc is the stem of the onion, and terminal buds is surrounding by several leaves. So bulb have one or more buds present inside the bulb and form a new plant. So this structure will be found in an onion as well as in garlic. For one, that is the combs. Combs means a single internode will store food and converts into a vegetative structure, that is known as a combs. Here mainly they are presence of tunics that are fibrous with the annulates and basal plates at the bottom with one or more growing point at the top. This cone will be found in a colocasia and alocasia. We know very well that patra, that's patra will be formed by the colocasia and alocasia leaves. Now another, that is the suckers. The suckers are short underground stems branch that arise at the base of the aerial shoots, and this then grow into the aerial branch, which then develop in advantageous roots. Here we can say that the aerial branch will be submerged inside the soil and it produce the roots, and above that is the stems. And here new suckers will be produced from their bases. When this sucker separates, it will produce a number of individual plants. Example of sucker, that is the mint. Though these are some example of vegetative reproductions by the underground stems. Now we'll study about the subaerial stems. So subaerial are a weak stem which takes supports from the ground for the spreading. And in subaerial stems mainly divide into three parts: offsets, runner, and stolons. So offsets mainly short horizontal branch produced in a cluster of leaves above the cluster of roots. Mainly this offset found in aqueous plants, and breaking of offsets will produce a new plant that is found in Iconia, which is also known as a terror of Bengal, and Pistia, that is the water lettuce. The stolon, so these grow horizontally to the ground and give rise to a roots and subaerial branch at the point which is called node. Stolon may or may not have long internodes, while the leaves are very small except in a few cases like strawberry and Vallisneria. This is Vallisneria, it's aqueous plants. We know that here stolon will be found, and from this stolon it will produce roots at the inside the soil and twig above the soil. Now runner, it's the elongated and subaerial branch with long internodes and nodes. Root will be produced from the nodule region which is come into contact with the soil. So from these nodes buds are formed and give rise a new plants. So this runner will be found in grass as well as in centella. Now aerial shoots. So aerial shoots means those parts which are found above the soil. Each segment of stem at least one node, enough water and store food, and therefore when detached they plant to give rise a new plants. So opuntia, here we can see that opuntia, as well as in a sugarcane there is a bird like structure which is known as a eyes of the sugarcane. When we sow that parts, it will produce new plants. Last one, that is the bulbils. Bulbils are large size fleshy birds which are specialized for vegetative reproduction, and bulbils they must fall from the plants and reach to the soil, and in a favorable season it will produce a new plant. So here you can see there's Dioscorea, it's the axillary bulbil, while in oxalis it's also produce some bulbils, and agave it's a vegetative agave is also known as century plants, it also has bulbils, and these propagules will produce a new plants. Now we will study about the vegetative propagation by leaves. The leaves of the several plants having adventitious buds help in vegetative reproduction. This bud remains dormant when leaf is attached with the plants, but when come into contact with the soil. So whenever leaves come into contact with the soils, at that time buds will produce a new plantlets from that margin of the leaves. For example, here you can see that ediantum, tip parts of the ediantum which possess vegetative buds, when this tip part come into contact with the soil, it will produce new plant. It's also known as a walking fern. So this is called ediantum. Now this one is the begonia. In begonia, that leaves will produce a new plant, and this one is the bryophyllum. So bryophyllum, a single leaves can produce more than one plant at a time. So bryophyllum is buds arising from the notch at the margin of the leaves. And here there is Serracevinia. The cut parts of the leaves also produce a new plants. Serracenia. Now vegetative propagation by roots. So it was discussed that one of the prerequisite for the vegetative reproduction presence in birds. The birds is the mainly features of stem, but in some plants roots also bear buds like sweet potato. So from their buds it will produce adventitious roots, and this plant will produce a new plant from their root portion. That's why it's known as vegetative propagation by root. Mostly this type of root will store food and become fleshy, and in favorable season it will produce new plants. Here the example of the vegetative propagation by root, that is the dahlia, this one is the sweet potato, and this one is the asparagus racemosus. So these are some types of the vegetative propagations. Now we will study about the artificial vegetative propagation. So artificial vegetative propagations occurs by different three way. Among the first, that is cutting. Cutting means a cut parts of the stem or leaves while planted inside the soil. It will produce new plant. Mostly this type of cutting cut parts, whenever we have to sow inside the soil, before that we have to treat with the artificial hormones like indole acid or naphthalene acetic acid. These hormones will be responsible for the formation of adventitious roots from the cut portion. So here root cutting, so these are used in the propagation of lemon, orange, blackberry and raspberry. So whenever if we want to plant new plants of the lemon or orange or blackberry, raspberry, take a roots of the particular plants, submerge inside the indole acid or naphthalic acid, and then so in a soil it will produce new plants. That is root cutting. In stem cutting, cut parts of the stem will produce new plant. That's found in a rose, sugarcane, coffee as well as citrus. While leaf cutting mainly found in a sansevieria like snake plants, begonia as well as in bryophyllum. So leaf will be produced new plants. This is stem cuttings of the sugarcane. This one is the root cuttings of the snake plant as well as the bryophyllum. Second type of artificial reproduction, that is the layering. Layering means those plants which twigs are produced near to the soil. Here a soft basal parts of the plant is defoliated in the middle where small cut is given, and that cut portion will be sown inside the soil and make a layer of soil over it. So from that cut portion which is merged inside the soil, which produce roots, and whenever the root will develop, at the time it will be separated from the parent plants and it behave a new plant, that is called layering. So layering are mainly two types, that is the mound layering and air layering. So mound layering mainly in those plants which has well branched structure but branch should be produced near to the soil. So once the root develop, it will be separated and it will be planted. This technique will be used especially in apple, pear, gooseberry and strawberry. While in air layering plants, we have to take a stem, a particular branch, cut the particular outer layer of the branch and make a layer of different type of materials like mud, cow dung, as well as moss and clay, and cover with a plastic bag. And after certain period of time, from that cut portion, it will produce adventitious roots. Then separated the twig from the plants and sow. So it will produce new plants. That is called air layering or gutti. So after 2 to 3 months, new plants will be produced. So this type of layering found especially in a lychee, guava, orange or lemon. Now third part of the artificial reproduction, that is the grafting. Grafting means two different plants combine and make a new plant. So most common methods, especially for the vegetative propagations, and here this type of grafting mainly occurs for the collaboration up to different vegetative characteristics in a single plant. The root portion of the plant is called stalk, which is joined to the twig portion, and that is called scion. Together they form a composite plant. Scion is a short piece of a detached shoots, is taken from a plant with a superior characteristics, mainly a stalk with a good disease resistance as well as grow in unfavorable condition, while scion has good vegetative characteristics like fruit shape, fruit structures, fruit juice, etc. There are mainly 5 types of grafting. Among the first grafting, that is the tongue grafting. Here in a tongue grafting, stalk and scions should be taken in the same diameter, and oblique cut is given to the both stalk as well as scion such a way that both are perfectly fit into the each other, and then it will be wrapped by plastic tape, and after certain period of time they will be joined together. So this is called tongue type of grafting. Second one, that is the crown grafting. So here in crown, the stalk it will be a large in a diameter, while scion has a small in diameter. So on the one side of stalk, may slits are formed and the scions are inserted into the slits and the bandage. The stalks have larger diameters than scion. So this is called crown type of grafting. Third one, that is the wedge. In a wedge grafting, both stalk and scion have same diameter. Then a V-shaped notch will be given to the stalk, while wedge-like cuts given to the scion, and both will be matched together. Now, side grafting, in which a stalk has a little bit notch in the side parts and scion will be inserted in and then bandage. In this side grafting, stalk will be larger in diameter while scion is smaller in diameter. Last one, that is the approach grafting. Two independent plants are brought together, then scion is cut below the graft while the stalk is cut above the graft, and after the union is established, that is called approach graft. So dear friends, up to this one we have studied today. Sexual reproductions we will study tomorrow. If you like if you like this video, please subscribe my channel so you will get more information.